You have myself, Nick Volkmer here, and Shaq Ahmed, and we're excited to bring you our webinar on capitalizing on crypto mining. So one of the things I love about this industry is that it's constantly evolving. I think over the last few years, we've seen the rise of a focus on the environmental footprint of the industry, specifically kind of the overall ESG footprint. And in an effort to reduce flaring, we've been getting a ton of inbounds, and there's a lot of innovation happening on different ways to utilize that flared gas in the field. Specifically, what we're going to be focusing today is on the ability to kind of reprioritize that gas for different crypto mining operations. And what's really fun about that is you can, using the platform, which Shaq is going to go through here in a second, you're able to marry a lot of the transmission grid data with a lot of the flaring data to really look at ways to prioritize investments. And as you're watching the workflow today, just keep in mind that this workflow can be used for a lot of other use cases beyond just crypto analysis, things like different like gathering infrastructure and more on the midstream side. So just kind of keep that in the back of your head as we go about this today. But with that, I would like to pass it over to Shaq to go through the workflow within our Prism platform.
Awesome. Thanks, Nick. Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Shaq Ahmed. I'm a technical advisor focusing on the midstream cohort, but we're beginning to do a lot more work, as Nick mentioned, on the crypto mining side. So we're going to step into the platform today and show you how you can use a few of our solutions to make some pretty powerful decisions when it comes to setting up crypto mining operations. Okay, so the solutions that we're going to take a look at today are going to be pretty relevant for crypto miners of all sizes and shapes, as well as traditional energy companies such as upstream and midstream companies looking to find a way to work with these miners. So whether you're an established crypto miner looking to grow your operations in a systematic way and strategically source supply from pads across North America, or you're a service company looking to support these mining operations, the workflows that we're going to look at today is going to give you a sense for the energy landscape in a given area to really better understand how you can plug into it and make the best decisions. So the way that Enverus is able to do this is by providing data on two key things. One, flared gas. Two, power markets and electrical grid infrastructure. So with that, let's step into the platform. What you're looking at on the screen here is Prism. This is where we house all of our data and drive all of our workflows. On the map here on the left, you can see all of our flared data across the lower 48. Each unique well spot represents a well and its flared data. So what we're looking at is the last month of flared data reported for each well. If we were to look at it in aggregate, just quickly stepping in the production data tab, if you shift your focus to the bottom left, we can actually see that historical buildup. Make this full screen. We can see the historical buildup. Right now it's just grouped by vintage, but we can also group it by operator. We can group it by state. But in short, there's a tremendous amount of data that's available, and we can use a lot of that to drive some near-term decision making. So if we go back to our main dashboard, we'll zoom in to the Permian. And so as we get closer and closer, we start to see areas of higher flaring and areas of lower flaring. So right off the bat, this gives you a sense for where you can direct some of your efforts when it comes to setting up potential new mining site. The next big question from here is going to be, who are the operators driving these volumes? Let's say you have an operator of interest. Exxon, for example, has a number of crypto mining operations that are currently running. So if we were to use them as an example, if we were to zoom in here, we see that in this 24 South 30 East region, there are certainly some pads that are flaring a lot more than others. So once we get to this point and you start to think about the feasibility of a project, one of the big inputs is going to be trying to get an understanding of the existing infrastructure that's in place. So if we want to take a look at that, we'll turn on our transmission layer. So this looks at electric transmission lines. And we see that pretty close to this region of interest of ours, there's actually some existing there's some existing transmission lines in place, which is definitely a big check mark, and then leads to the next question for, what are there any substations, are there any power plants, what does that look like as well. So we can turn these on and they'll appear on the map, and we can see right away that, okay, there's like a decent number of substations and power plants close to this region of interest of ours as well. And so we know that we'll be able to plug into the grid and get any sort of backup power in case there's an interruption to flared gas volumes, or if the flared gas volumes are generating electricity that's in excess of the project's needs, you can actually sell that back into the grid as well. A big question that falls out of that then is, what does the price of electricity look like within this region? Because if you know that you are going to be generating excess electricity, perhaps you want to get a sense for what you can sell your electricity at, or if you're going to be buying, you want to get a sense for what that input cost is as well. So we'll turn off the substations and the power plants, and we'll actually turn on our LMP data. The data that we're looking at here is averaged over the last month. So keeping an eye on here, let's get a sense relative to the rest of the Permian or the rest of like the regions, how does that data compare? So we'll rebin this very quickly. And so from here, we can see that the electricity over here is actually going to be on the higher end compared to, let's say, something in the Southern and Central Basin Platform or Southern Midland or whatnot, but certainly trending up as you go in and around this area. So very quickly, using our tools, you're able to get a sense for where gas is being flared, who's flaring it, whether there's existing infrastructure nearby, and what electricity prices look like in and around that site. Using these 5 things, you can very quickly start to build. You can very quickly start to assess the economics of setting up a project and do this in a very repeatable way.